reticle.
Liquid breathing systems.
Yeah, it's called like perfluorocarbon liquid.
Bro, we have underwater alien bases. The skies above aren't the only place where UFOs appear. Many of the strangest sightings happen beneath the waves. From ancient accounts of glowing craft rising from the depths to modern reports of underwater objects moving at impossible speeds. Today we look at the mystery of unidentified submergible objects, or USOs, here on MKUSUAL. Yeah, UFOs be like seen in the water. I mean, dude, the famous Tic Tac video.
That was over the ocean, right?
It was over the ocean and it goes into the ocean.
Oh.
And when they go into the ocean, they're described as not having any splash.
That's very strange.
The famous jellyfish UFO, I believe over our base in Iraq, also went into the ocean.
Okay.
So yeah, let's look into UFOs. That stands for unidentified flying object. USO is unidentified submerged object. Are reported moving in or emerging from bodies of water. They are transmedium. Reports suggest USOs can, 1, move at impossible speeds underwater, far exceeding known submarine technology. I've heard hundreds of knots. When you look up, dude, look up how fast are submarines, because it's like actually really slow, 25 to 30 knots. And these things move at hundreds, so they are just outpacing us. 2, they travel seamlessly between air and water without creating any splash, as I said earlier. And they often appear on military sonar and radar, but often vanish without a trace. I believe there's accounts of them like shutting down Russian aircraft carriers. So let's look at some ancient accounts.
Okay.
Ancient Hindu texts, it always comes back to them, describe flying craft that enter the water in the Vimanas. The ancient Indian texts like the Maharab... Can you say that? You know that word. You've said...
Maharabra. Nope.
The Dirkagers, the Mahabharata, and the Vedas were flying chariots of the gods. Some accounts suggest these crafts were capable of traveling through both air and the sea. And then in ancient Rome in the 1st century, they had submarine chariots. Roman historian Plutarch wrote about glowing discs emerging from the ocean, comparing them to submarine chariots of gods.
Something I never realized is that there's no, like, with our technology, there's no craft that we have that's like a plane that can fly underwater.
No.
Or that can even, like, there's like a boat car, but there's nothing like that can do both.
No.
That I know of.
I mean, these are probably, they say USOs, UFO, it's probably the same thing.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like.
No, we have nothing. It's they call it transmedium.
Yeah, we can't do that.
No, and at the speeds that these things hit the water in these videos, and we're going to get into some like recent ones, it would just shatter any known substance, any thing we could build a craft out of. The Plutarch the historian, that's interesting to put that in a history. Glowing discs. Historian Titus Livius, or Livy, also documented mysterious lights over the sea, which ancient people interpreted as omens from the gods. And of course, I gotta look up more into this one. Christopher Columbus had a USO encounter in 1492.
He was sailing across the Atlantic.
Yes.
Plutarch was the 1st century.
So that's the same as the other guy. That's the same as old Livy.
Okay.
Must have been something going on. Christopher Columbus recorded a strange sighting in his logbook. A, quote, bright object emerged from the water and flew into the sky before vanishing. Some believe this was a classic USO encounter. He describes a light that appeared and disappeared several times during the night. It moved up and down in the distance like a candle. It was so faint, only one crew member could see it. It says he might have seen fireworms, which are luminous creatures that glow green, but those wouldn't fly out of the water into the sky. Where did the sighting occur? Bum, bum, bum. The Bermuda Triangle.
Okay.
Off the coast of Bimini and the Bahamas. So Christopher Columbus, first guy to sail over there, had his old Bermuda Triangle USO experience. That is, I have never heard about this. This is all over the New York Times. See, I don't buy this glowing worm thing.
They always try so hard to make it a fucking weather balloon or a glowing worm.
Yeah, and the fact that it happened in the Bermuda Triangle, that is... I mean, everything here says that it flew. Here's a PDF about UFO sightings, Christopher Columbus. It flew. You wouldn't call it a UFO if it didn't fly. I downloaded a PowerPoint presentation. Also, a very interesting story is that of a man living in Chile in the 19th century. He saw a strange aerial construction bearing lights and making engine noises while it flew low over the town. NATO radar stations detecting 50 UFOs in 1961.
Did that say coming from the direction of the Soviet Union?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Objects vanished after 9 minutes. Let's see here. Well, I guess these aren't USO. I'm getting far afield here. Back to USO. So those are some ancient, or I guess in the case of Christopher Columbus, Renaissance accounts. Let's talk about some modern military encounters with USOs. Nimitz Tic Tac. 2004, U.S. naval pilots reported an object moving erratically over the ocean, then diving into water at high speed without slowing down. Radar operators confirmed the object was capable of underwater travel at speeds far beyond any known technology.
So they didn't lose. They continued to be able to track it after it went in the water.
Apparently.
That's wild.
I think it's crazy we have technology that can track these things. I feel like if they wanted to shut us down, they would.
Yeah.
Russian Navy declassified reports. In 2009, declassified Russian naval documents revealed numerous encounters with USOs. Soviet nuclear submarines tracked objects moving at 256 miles per hour, or 230 knots underwater, far beyond human capabilities. Some submarines were forced to surface due to encounters with unknown underwater entities. I'm going to look up Russian USO encounters. The 1976 Red Sea incident. Soviet naval records describe an encounter with a fast-moving underwater object during naval operations in the Red Sea. That one was going 250 knots. Some operators were baffled as the object exhibited intelligent movement, avoiding detection and then disappearing without explanation. 1982, the Baikal Lake swimmers incident. Russian military divers allegedly encounter humanoid beings while training in Lake Baikal, the world's deepest freshwater lake.
Oh, I saw a video about this recently.
About these divers?
Yes.
Ooh. The beings were 9 feet tall, wearing tight-fitting silver suits, swimming without visible breathing equipment at extreme depths. When Soviet divers tried to capture one of the beings, they were allegedly hit by an unknown force, causing 3 divers to die from decompression sickness after being rapidly brought to the surface.
The bends.
First declassified by Vladimir Askaka, a former Soviet naval officer and UFO researcher. 1960s Pacific Fleet sonar incident. Soviet submarine crews reportedly detected unexplained underwater objects while patrolling the Pacific. These objects dived to extreme depths faster than any known submarine, changed direction instantly, defying physics, emitted strange pulsating sonar signatures that were not of natural origin. Some Soviet officers believe they're dealing with an unknown underwater intelligence. The quacker phenomenon of the 70s and 80s. Soviet submarines in the Arctic and Atlantic frequently heard mysterious underwater sounds that they call quackers because they resembled the croaking of frogs. I like that our ducks quack, but their frogs quack. They would follow Soviet submarines. Soviet military officials suspected they were advanced NATO underwater vehicles, while others speculated about extraterrestrial origins. There was an encounter in 1973 in the Mediterranean when submarines attempted to follow an object, which made an impossible 90-degree turn before disappearing. Some claim it gave off a bright glow while vanishing. So this can't be sea monsters.
Yeah.
In the 50s, Baltic Sea, Soviet warships patrolling the Baltic Sea detected an unidentified metallic craft rising from the water before shooting into the sky at an extreme speed. The event was classified for decades, with only a few details leaking. Some reports claim the Soviet Navy even fired on the object, but it was unaffected. Wow, okay. You can always trust the Russians.
In this, I do.
Yes.
What any
other thing? Oh, I just mean you can trust, like, because these accounts are, it's not like Roswell where you can be like, what's going on? Why'd they say they captured a disc and say they not, blah, blah, blah. They were such a closed off society that when this stuff eventually gets declassified, it's like there can't really be an ulterior motive other than like they just saw this stuff.
Right. The ones in the lake, they tried to catch him. That's the most Russian shit ever.
Get the alien.
The 9-foot tall alien breathing underwater. That lake is kind of crazy too. The Baikal Lake, its deepest point is 5,387 feet, over a mile deep.
Whoa.
It contains 20% of the world's unfrozen freshwater, and it's 25 to 30 million years old. It's 50 miles wide at its widest point.
What percentage of the water?
20% of all the world's unfrozen freshwater.
Dang. That's a big-ass lake.
Yeah, huge. Plus, it's so old. I don't know. I just thought that was... If you were an entity that needed fresh water and wanted to be undisturbed and blah, 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 that seems like the perfect place to go.
Yes. Okay, there's the gondola USO incident of the United States, where a U.S. Customs and Border Protection aircraft recorded fast-moving objects plunging into the ocean, splitting into two separate objects before disappearing, with no visible propulsion system. Unaffected by drag of air and water. Will people just be seeing these things? That lake thing. Well, I guess we'll get into this towards the end, but here's what I think is one of the freakiest.
They go in and out of the water in both directions at tremendous speeds. It sounds like that's pretty interesting.
When I was watching something with Richard Dolan, he was speculating that they have like a bubble, a little space-time bubble around them, which would explain how you could do like impossible maneuvers in the air too without being affected by gravity. Nick, there is this is the big one. There is an alleged alien base in the Atlantic Ocean.
I've heard this.
Of the Puerto Rico Trench.
I heard this when the drone stuff in New Jersey was going on.
Yes, that's when I first heard about it.
But I never heard that before.
So, some researchers claim a massive underwater alien base exists in the Atlantic, particularly near the Puerto Rico Trench, one of the deepest points in the ocean. I believe it's the second deepest.
Yeah. Mariana Trench is definitely the deepest.
Yes. Ivan Sanderson, a researcher of USOs, suggests that this region has a higher than normal number of UFO sightings. In 1952, NATO did military exercises called Operation Mainbrace in the Atlantic, were allegedly disrupted by multiple USOs appearing simultaneously.
It's the deepest point of the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
But I think the Mariana Trench is the deepest of any. It's 5 miles deep, the Puerto Rico Trench. The Mariana is like almost 7. The deepest point, called Milwaukee Deep. That's kind of weird. Anyway.
So these things, they like to be the deep points. Like you said, that would make sense if they're underwater, like underground entities.
Or they just, like, there's some conflict, that, like we can't fathom it, so we just behave like animals when we see them, and we're a danger to them in some way.
Yeah.
So they would just, that's where I would hide if I could and I was scared of humans, that's where I would go.
Or if you just don't want to be bothered.
The weather, quote unquote, would be static. It wouldn't.
You could survive a cataclysm.
Yeah.
You'd be really safe from attack because all our underwater stuff is so slow.
Right.
In 2018, there was a Google Earth anomaly claiming, some conspiracy theorists claim satellite images revealed geometric structures deep in the Atlantic.
I've seen these.
I gotta look this up.
It looks. I've looked. I saw. I don't remember where I saw it, but it looked like. If I'm thinking of the same thing, it looked like giant tread marks.
Ooh.
Like some giant piece of machinery was driving on the bottom of the ocean.
There's a perfect circle, and and little
like
tread marks. Bro.
Yeah.
Who said I swear one of the whistleblowers.
I was thinking that too. In one of the testimonies, the congressional testimony.
Oh, that woman, that congresswoman asked the guy
specifically about USOs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. William Tompkins, former aerospace engineer who worked on aerospace black projects, claimed that underwater alien bases exist and some human governments collaborate with them in deep sea facilities. He alleged hidden UFO construction sites under the ocean, including Atlantic and Pacific. He was involved in the early secret space program. Linda Moulton Howe, famous investigator. Richard Sauter, author of Underground Bases and Tunnels. He's the guy who came up with DUMBs, deep underground military bases. He says the government funded deep sea construction projects, suggesting they serve a secretive purpose beyond normal military operations. Edgar Casey,
he's back.
Famous American psychic, claimed the remnants of Atlantis existed beneath the Atlantic, and advanced technology is still there. Some UFO researchers link his predictions to modern theories about underwater bases. Bob Dean, former U.S. Army Commander Sergeant Major, well-known UFO whistleblower, claimed that underwater UFO bases exist and advanced extraterrestrials may be constructing or repairing spacecraft in the Atlantic Ocean. The Bermuda Triangle and Puerto Rico Trench are the possible locations. Okay. In 2020, the Pentagon declassified footage of UAPs observed diving into the ocean without a splash. Somebody else, man. Who said there's alien UFO construction sites under the Atlantic Ocean? But you're right. Yeah, during Representative Tim Burchett of Tennessee suggests there are alien bases hidden underwater, citing an admiral who he did not identify, who told him, Tim Burchett stated he believes aliens have underwater bases. That's a fun sound clip for whoever runs against him. There might be a submerged space ark in the Atlantic. What? Lauren Boebert, that's the one, told Congress she's worried about underwater alien bases. Newsweek article, Republicans suggest alien bases hiding under the ocean. David Garush. Underwater UFO researcher finds movie-like object in the Baltic Sea. I watched that interview the other day. It was on News Nation. This is from 2023. Alien mothership. Pentagon officials float a theory. Oh, that's about Oumuamua. Okay. So, what are the explanations? 1. Alien bases under the ocean. If extraterrestrials wanted to observe humanity without being detected, the ocean would be the perfect hiding spot. With 80% of the ocean unexplored, it's possible advanced civilizations could remain undetected. Or, one of my favorite words, crypto-terrestrial life. The idea that advanced non-human civilizations have lived on Earth for millennia, hiding beneath the ocean. This could be an ancient, undiscovered species rather than extraterrestrial. I kind of like that theory. Dude, the ant people episode.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That kind of ties into what I was. So when you said that potentially some governments are working with them, it made me think of the movie The Abyss. Have you ever seen that?
No, I need to watch more movies.
With Ed Harris. Okay, it's about an underwater alien species. And so Ed Harris is like this deep sea diving guy, and he takes his team down to look for something in the Mariana Trench, but then it's like way deeper than anyone's been able to go. So he puts on this experimental suit in the movie, but it's filled with a fluid, so it's not pressurized with air.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about like depressurization, like the bends if you ascend too fast, blah blah blah. You fill it with this oxygen-rich fluid, and the fluid completely fills up your lungs so that you can breathe.
Oh.
You just absorb the oxygen, so you like experience what feels like drowning, but then eventually you start receiving oxygen. It's real. It's experimental in humans still, but there's a scene in the movie where they submerge a rat into this fluid, and that's a real scene. And they hold it under the water, and then it just stands up in the water.
What? That's real?
Yeah. They've tested it on rats and dogs. It's real. But the movie, something happens when they're down there, and he falls down into the Mariana Trench. But then he's taken in by these aliens who show him.
Yes, keep going. I'm gonna play the video after you're done.
Yeah, they show him we're here to you're destroying the planet. That's the message. It's then it shows him this montage of all the fucked up things humans do.
Classic UFO encounter.
Yeah, and then they're I can't remember the conversation he has with the aliens is pretty good, and then they're our technology is water, which I want to watch it again because that's the line I remember, but I've never thought about it did they create water, or is just they know how to bend it and manipulate it and use it? They send these big tidal waves towards all the shores of all the continents, and then they just freeze them in the air. They stop it.
Oh, they're we can mess you up.
Yeah, it's 100-foot tidal wave. Obviously, would destroy everything. But then everyone's oh shit, and then he's down there, and then they let him go. There's a ship that comes out of the water, and yeah. You should watch that movie.
All right, I'll watch it. 89. I bet it's good. It sounds good.
It's very good.
This mouse. I'm just gonna have it playing while we're talking. But that's so creepy.
But I was well, if we are working with them, because there's so much pressure down there, so what type of technology would be needed for us to not be crushed or suffocate or what, So but there is at least theoretical
liquid breathing systems.
Yeah, it's called perfluorocarbon liquid.
Deep sea and military applications. Scientists have theorized the future of liquid breathing suits could help divers reach extreme depths without risk of decompression sickness. And could be used in covert military operation. Oh, there's no way we haven't tried this.
Yeah.
Oh, if they're making a movie about it in 89 and they had that footage of the rat in 89. Bro, we have underwater alien bases.
We're down there. We're doing shit. We found Atlantis or something.
There really is like an alien. It seems like the aliens, like at certain times in our history, I'll just call them aliens because whether or not they're from here or outer space, it's alien to us. Seems like way back in the past, they were a lot more brazen about like making contact, you know, probably before we had nukes and whatnot. So like, it could be where stories of like Atlantis and stuff come from. This liquid breathing thing is wild. That's a really disturbing. That video of the mouse is so disturbing because it's like it's not supposed to be happening.
Right.
That's not right. This shouldn't be happening. Not that I want to watch it drown.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Well, where do you place your money at? Are these things from somewhere else? Are they from the water?
Well, it's hard. Both, wherever they come from, it makes perfect sense that that's where they would end up.
Yeah.
So to me, there's not logically, there's not one option that's more obvious than the other. How old is the Earth?
How old is the Earth? I do want to point out one of the beasts in the Book of Revelation come out of the sea.
Interesting.
The one associated with Satan.
Well, that took a turn there. I wasn't
Sorry.
expecting that. 4.5 billion years old. So
yeah, that's a lot of time, man.
it's a lot of time for
The dinosaur people,
creatures to be getting up to creature things.
they be creaturing.
Yeah.
Just trying to think of like UFO encounters where like if there's anything about the description. I mean, we kind of think of like a gray, like kind of seems like it could be an aquatic creature. They got like dolphin skin, kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of, yeah.
They be ooey gooey. They be slimy.
That's what
okay.
I'm going to say if I ever get abducted.
Yeah.
Yeah, ooey gooey little bitch.
Look at you little ooey gooeys with your big old eyes and your big old head.
If you wanted to see underwater, you would probably want some big ass eyes because there's no light down there.
That is true. Could grays be underwater entities? Yeah, a lot of USOs near. Okay. Biologically adapted to water, large black eyes. Could it be adapted to deep sea darkness? Thin, smooth skin, suited for aquatic. No visible nose or small split-like nostrils could indicate they breathe differently, like aquatic creatures. Webbed fingers are sometimes reported. Many mythological ancient cultures have stories of beings with similar gray appearance. The Oans in Babylonian mythology are half fish, half human. The Nomo of the Dogon tribe, amphibious beings from... Oh, the Dogon, the Sirius bee. Their grays are apparently amphibious. Whistleblower testimony. Okay. All right. So this could help us defend against them. What do sea creatures hate? Hooks. Worms.
They love worms.
Oh, yeah, they love worms.
That's how we get them.
That's how we get them.
Catch a fly with honey. We just need more worms.
In our fight against the extraterrestrials, the ultra-terrestrials. Well, any final thoughts, sir?
Okay. Have you heard of the Vesica Pisces?
No.
It's like the ichthys, the Jesus fish, It's
Oh,
where
yeah.
it's a sacred geometric shape formed by the intersection of two circles of equal radius, where the center of each lies on the circumference of the other. So kind of like, yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's the fish. Okay.
It's also the shape of the Pope's hat.
Ooh.
The big hat he wears, which some people say, like Pisces, like the astrological symbol is the fish, and that is like a hint towards fish people.
Fish people. That's the name of the episode. Fish people confirmed.
I can't remember all the like. No, and this wasn't like. It was just cuckoo, schizo reels on Instagram, but
The best kind.
pretty interesting.
The Pope is a fish.
The Jesus symbol, the Jesus fish, and then the hat of the Pope, and then I don't know.
Okay. Stuff got deep.
Fish people.
Fish people. Fish sticks. We love you. Be good.